Oh, for browser tabs.
All right, I think I am live right now, and I don't know if anybody can hear Jess right now or how the heck this is working. Click here at any time to view the post. I am today, for the first time, using this Ecamm tool, and I don't know what the hell's happening with it, if I'm being honest. But this is how technology works. Unfortunately, it's Easter, so nobody's watching anyway. It's just me
That's
and
why we're
Jess.
experimenting now.
We're making crap up as we go. All right, Jess, here's how this is going to work. Right now, you see me on video, right? Like you only see me on your Skype
Yeah.
call, right? Okay. So I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, nobody can see you because you're not on the Facebook call. Oh, dude, my fan started buzzing on my computer because it's like, this is too much, Mike. Okay. We were not made for this. All right, Jonathan just checked in and said that my logo is on there, which means that this is working because in fact my logo does show up, which is so cool. All right. Here's what I'm going to do, guys, because we're totally live and Jess is just sitting in her fake space or whatever's going on in her creative corner
It's
down
real
there.
space. It
I mean, it's
looks
real
real. Come
space,
on.
but it's creative.
By the way, I just logged into the Facebook Live and I can hear myself.
You
So
can still
it
hear
is.
yourself? All right. Well,
Yeah.
then you have to zip it and pretend like you're not there. Ooh, I think I can mute you. Watch this.
Yes.
Watch.
Mute.
Okay, mute. I think I can hear you. Can you talk? Oh, see, I hear you, but I think you're muted for the Facebook Live. This is so professional. Okay, legal tech, guys. You can't do anything legal tech without some legal tech problems. We're figuring it out. Okay. All right, Jess, I'm going to tell them some things real quick, and then I'm going to come back to you. Guys, I wanted to talk real quickly about consumer demand because I keep hearing things. Wait, first, sorry, before we get going too far, I wanted to share with you the some links to some things because you know that's what we do. So I'm going to go over here and push the buttons. And now my computer is like, you are not logging into another thing, you idiot. There's no way that that's happening. So this is slow like molasses now. So to you, the one downside of using Ecamm is that you have to use Skype and Skype is atrocious. It's really quite awful. I see Moshe's in here, and he's going to tell me what I did wrong later. All right, so real quick, that's the link to the virtual conference. Go sign up if you haven't done it done it yet for some reason. It's all pay what you can. A bunch of people in there. We've recorded most of the talks by now. We're getting them all up on the website. Everything will be released on Thursday and Friday, which I think is the 16th and 17th, which means my wife's birthday is on Wednesday, tax day, and I need to get her something. So, but we're not going to talk about that. Also, I need to share with you. Whoa, why is that picture so small? I don't know what's happening. I want to share with you just something that I've been reading, which is this issue of demand. I've been hearing a lot about, there's not a whole lot of demand right now for this kind of legal service, but there is for this other kind of legal service, and my brain's been just turning on it. I would recommend going back and reading this article from Milan Markovic. He's a good dude, does a lot of research. He drives me crazy sometimes because he brings the receipts, and it just infuriates me sometimes because he's right about stuff that I don't like. This is one of those things that, there's a lot of push in my friend circle to deregulate, to make it so we don't have this monopoly because people can't afford lawyers. But he points out this demand issue. Here we go. The 2014 CNSS survey found that 46% of respondents didn't consult lawyers because they didn't see the need, and 24% didn't think it would make any difference. Only 8% of moderate income and 16% of low income people said that cost was the issue. I don't know, right? It's really difficult and he points out over and over, it's really difficult with all of this data to figure out what's the cause and what's the effect, right? Do they not think an attorney is worth talking to in terms of the solution because they're in their mind already saying, I can't afford an attorney, why would I do that? I don't know. But in terms of, if you look at consumers right now, the cost wasn't the issue, right? As far as what they said, only about 1/5 of people who had a discernible legal need got a lawyer. Another fifth or so said they couldn't because of cost, and that other 3/5 they just didn't want one. Is basically what the data is saying. And so the question is how to create the demand in that other 3/5, right? How do you make it so those other 3/5 see the need for you, that you can make a difference? I think this is really important right now. You see a lot of this talk about estate planning as this really high demand area right now. And obviously this is a faulty search for a lot of reasons, but if you just look up the Google trends for estate planning, it's pretty similar to what it has been. So what I don't want to see is people going and chasing the shiny object of estate planning and thinking that everybody wants that right now, when there's, I mean, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, right? So think about it. Read the article on the estate planning demand. I want to go back just real quick and see why the hell my picture got so small. That feels judgy. I don't like that. I don't like the way that feels. And then I'm going to push a button over here and see if it works and talk to Jess. Jess. Okay, I'm going to unmute you.
Hello.
I don't know if you're muted or not. Okay, now you're not. Now you're in. And we're going to, okay, I need somebody to comment on the Facebook thing and tell me, can you see me? Can you see Jess? That's all I need to know. Do you see it, Jessica?
I.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it right now. It's both of us. This is some science, people. This is like,
It's working.
I'm like, and what's crazy, as an aside, my wife watched the video yesterday because she thinks it's so funny to watch the ones with me and the pets, just so she can make fun of me. The video quality on this, with going through this tool as opposed to just what Facebook does with compressing the feed and all that, this is so much better. I mean, this just looks way better. And I can put my logo on the bottom, which I just think is cool. I mean, nobody recognizes, it's not Nike, but it's just cool to me.
It is cool. It's always nice to have a higher quality feed too. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Even with Skype. And we're going to see, because being on Skype may cause my computer to explode. I changed my daughter's fan today in her room because she said when she turned it on the other day, it created steam. She's like, it was steaming. I was like, it was not steaming. There's no water in there.
Might have been smoke.
It's probably smoke. So my computer may do some steam here in a minute. All right, quickly. I apologize. I apologize to everyone, not just Jess, everybody. So what I wanted to do is, A, I was bored with listening to myself, surprisingly. And B, I think I think you and I, people like you and I, because we get together with other people a lot right now, like we're reaching out to a lot of people, I think we take it for granted that people do that. But sometimes
Yes.
I think we might be the freaks.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that there are a lot of people who just like are winging it right now and just by themselves. And that always worries me. That's always a thing that bugs me. So what I wanted to do just easily was get on this thing, see if we could make it work. I was freaking out because I couldn't figure out why my screen was so small, but I just found a button.
Ta-da! Look at Mike's just trying all the new things, and it's all
Now my head
happening.
is more to scale, which is really important when you've got a head like this. I just wanted to see how you were doing. So I'm just going to ask, how are you doing? You and I talk a lot, in these Zoom hangout sessions and check in with each other occasionally. So I have a pretty good sense of how you're doing. But tell the folks at home, Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm doing extra well today because I actually took the weekend. Like, I did not allow myself to design an infographic in Canva or edit a podcast episode or do any client work or even think about my business. I didn't even watch your video yesterday. And you know that I watch them like every day. So
It's a bold strategy that I hate.
Yeah, I just needed to do a total legal industry detox for 2 days, and it was magical. And I'm feeling very rejuvenated. So I highly recommend giving yourself breaks because I think we tend, as firm owners especially, tend to kind of, you're just always on.
Mm. Yeah, that emotional labor. But I mean, like, as far as this thing, this coronavirus, how are you feeling? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Or are you just rolling with it? Are you, because that's my place. I'm usually at the place, my mother taught me this, where it's like, you can, okay, my mother, we can get into this anytime you want to, but it, she was very much, you just roll to the next thing. What the freak are you going to do? It's not, I talked to her earlier today and she was like, we could all end up losing our houses, but we've got tents, you know?
Right,
And that's just
right.
sort of her way. So that's sort of how I'm dealing with it, but I don't know if that's normal. How are you coping?
Um, well, I had like a manic phase where I was just like, oh my God, I got to figure out all the things and like get all the information to my clients and do all the stuff. And then I had a very, like the first 2 weeks were very, my brain felt like sludge, and every day was just an epic marathon of trying to actually make my brain do anything. Then I went into the manic week, and then this last week felt more normal. So I think I am now rolling with it, and it's like, well, all right, you know, I still have work. The phone didn't ring for like 2 or 3 weeks, which was terrifying, but the phone has started ringing again, and I have existing work to do. And the earth is not ending. My clients are still out there and need help, so it's just a matter of like me managing myself to be able to do the work and do the marketing. So yeah, I'm getting to a place where I feel like I'm rolling with it.
I wanted to ask you about that though, the demand thing, because I did an interview with George Saharis for the event, and he showed some Clio data, and it was basically that new matter creation was down a lot, right? That
Yeah,
creating new cases was down a lot. The the actual billing was up, because basically people are trying to bill out their trust accounts, right? So they're just
yeah,
like freaking out and trying to. So now they've
yeah,
got all this free time because they're not doing consultations, I guess,
right.
and so they're just billing what they have like crazy, which obviously isn't sustainable. What? How long does that go? A couple
No,
of weeks, but they were seeing a big downtick, and he did point out that some of it is practice specific. He's like, wills are theoretically up, but anyway, are you seeing demand for your, you said that some calls started back up, but I'm assuming it's not what it was before.
no, it's definitely not what it was a month ago. But I work with nonprofits. I do a lot of startups. I do a lot of like small, mid-size nonprofit stuff. And I was encouraged to see, like, I get the data from the Minnesota Secretary of State's office on the like new nonprofit incorporations
Mm.
in the state each month, and it's usually a couple hundred a month in Minnesota. And we got this March data we just got on Thursday or Friday, and there were 183 new nonprofits incorporated in Minnesota, and half of them were in the second half of the month,
Huh.
which means like in the midst of everything, like people are like, yeah, I'm still doing it. So
Hmm.
for whatever that
Yeah.
does for me in my practice, it makes me more confident that like, the world is continuing. And I think, yeah, certain practice areas are going to have, there's going to be feast and famine a little bit, especially if you're a litigator and the courts are closed. That's going to be a weird place to be in. But there's plenty of stuff that is happening,
Huh.
right? If you're a transactional person, there are a lot of transactions that are going sideways right now.
So, in recent weeks, in either your manic period or your cool off period, have you tried something new, some new way to get clients, or a new product that you're going to offer? Anything that you've tried? Just curious if people are trying things and they're working out. Have you tried anything new?
Well, I mean, I guess not. not really. I mean, like I have a couple of things in the works where they're more like DIY self-directed products. And I think the question was sort of like, do I continue with these things? Not because there wouldn't be demand, but like, do I continue to spend money on developing this thing right now when it's such a crapshoot? Um, so those conversations my wing woman and I have been having in depth, and I think we sort of landed on once we got the data back about startups, because the product that I'm making is for people starting a nonprofit to do some self-help. Um, that was enough for me. Okay, like I can still invest in this. Like it's not like no one's going to start a nonprofit for the next 6 months and I'm wasting my time and money. But to the extent that like that was kind of already in the works, so it's not really new. But really, like I doubled down on my content marketing. Like the manic phase was go crazy, get information. People don't have the information. People are hungry for the information about like the CARES Act and the PPP loans and the, EIDL loans. And I work with nonprofit corporations and they have payroll and they want to know about these things. So I really just doubled down on content marketing, which is not new to me, but I made new content. Like I probably made more new content that week than I've made in the last 3 months. And now I'm rolling it all up, and I rolled it all up into like a comprehensive like guide that I'm going to send out to my list. So I'm like the content marketing has been off the chain.
Off the chain.
Off the chain, yo.
Relevant to that, I'm going to switch over to share the screen real quick. I meant to show you guys this. This was a podcast of Ernie the Attorney's. And yes, that is my face on the right. That's not what I'm sharing with you. I was on his show last week, but there was a conversation with what's his name now? That's Conrad Sam. Conrad Sam and Ernie talked about how to market in this time, and the idea was like how to figure out demand, how to go find where the demand is, and just a really interesting conversation that I've been wondering about, right? Like I talked about earlier, are we creating demand? Are we identifying demand that's already there? If awareness is the issue, right? Which I think this data sort of shows that awareness is the problem. People don't see what we do as valuable, don't understand why it's valuable. Well, then if awareness is the issue, that stuff that you were doing with creating a lot of content right now makes perfect sense because you're out there trying to tell people this is what we do. If that's the big holdup, I think one of the takeaways from my conversation with George is that we're going to end up having a lot more hippos fighting over fewer marbles, right? The hungry hippo analogy.
Hungry hippos. I get purple.
Well done. And if that's the case, then I'm not a big fan of the idea that you can go create demand from nothing. Either people want help or they don't. But if you can create awareness and that might feed demand, then maybe that's going to create new marbles. I want to take that analogy way too far.
For me, I was responding to, these are the calls that I'm getting. Like, these are the things my existing clients are asking me. So I'm like, all right, I've done 3 calls that are identical. Like, I'm putting out videos,
right.
So you can kind of like take what's out there as your gauge. Like, I don't think I'm creating new clients with that. I'm more feeding my existing base. But.
Well, one other thing, by the way, that I want to share that's sort of relevant to this is Conrad Sam, their company Mockingbird, I think is what it's called, marketing for law firms. They're doing this thing where they're given free websites for some period of time in COVID. Survived coronavirus with a free WordPress site and hosting. It was like for 6 months, I think. But go look that up because very nice of Conrad to do that. I think I wanted to ask you, do you have plans for trying something new upcoming? Any plans for something to do different? But I think you might have answered that a bit already. So, taking away from the law firm side, real quick, and my last question: what about the personal side? And anything you found you can do with the kids, or with something fun that you've added to try to keep yourself from driving into a river?
You know, right? Well, I have two daughters that are 11 and 14. And one of the things that has come up for them, they're having a hard time being together all day, every day, 7 days a week, because they go to school. And when they were babies, they went to daycare. So that's actually been interesting, trying to sort of broker the situation there, because they are tearing each other's off and giving me extra hugs. So I'm coming out good on this deal, but I hate listening to them argue, so has
Those are
its
save
downside.
me from my sister hugs. Yeah,
Mhm.
my wife,
Exactly.
my wife Nicole and I were laying in bed last night, and each of us looking at our phones separately, watching something different. And for a second there, I had that feeling like, oh, this is so bad. We should be together. And then I thought, this may be the only reason we're still married, right? Like that we stopped talking to each other for
Yeah.
some period of time. I
Yeah.
think all of us stuck together, we might just end up just killing each other if we don't hook up to something else, right?
Yeah. Well, I did a couple of things for the kids in that scenario. So one was I have mandated recess, that they go outside. My 14-year-old doesn't get recess at school. So I'm just like, y'all need to get outside. And then I also mandated alone time, that because my 14-year-old really wants alone time and my 11-year-old really wants to play with her sister. So I just made it like, here's a checklist. Have you gone outside? Have you had some alone time? And that gives the older one cover to say like, well, I'm having my alone time now, because mom said we have to do this. And then,
I'm not kicking you out. I don't want to pay a social cost for this later. This is mom's
right.
fault. Smart, smart.
And then I found, actually their dad, my ex, who's awesome, found this thing called Outschool. And it's a program like online, and it's teachers who've made courses. And you can just like, if you have really brainy kids or they want to do something that's like outside of the box, you can sign them up for one of these courses. So like my 11-year-old wants to learn sign language, and her distance learning is like 2 hours a day. Like, what do you do with the rest of this kid's day? And my kid is just going to play video games all day unless I give her something to do. So,
Sorry, she's
um,
11?
mhm.
I'm thinking I need to get her connected to Ellie on FaceTime or something. I've got a 16-year-old who is taking American Sign Language courses at community college. She's like 2 years in, and she's got to do all these online classes with these, and she hates online classes, right? She hates the performance aspect and feeling like she's like doing, which is
Yes.
so funny. She's like anxious about performing. I'm like, you're doing a visual language. You're like literally, you're
Well, you
performing.
literally have
You're
to be
gonna
looked
be.
at.
People will look at you. That's how the whole thing works. But yeah, maybe if she was hanging out with an 11-year-old who thought she hung the moon, because 11-year-old girls tend to do that with
Yeah.
16-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Huh, Jessica?
Let's,
Huh?
yeah.
Huh?
I'm picking up what you're putting down there.
Jess, you are a star. I think this is going to work. We're going to push stop on this thing and see if my computer explodes. In the
Hey.
meantime, should I do that thing where I ask you, hey, Jess, if people want to follow up with you and learn more about what you do?
Oh yeah. At Jess Birkin, find me on Twitter.
We're also on
That
Facebook, it turns out, but we don't actually like it here.
no.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. Don't find me on Facebook. It's just all about techno in my Facebook page. You don't want to be there. Find me on Twitter, where I have relevant things to talk with you about there. At Jess Birkin. And Mike, before we hang up, I just want to remind you, don't spray water on an electrical fire. That's it. That's all I got.
That's
When your
helpful.
computer explodes.
I think what you pour on it is vegetable oil. Isn't that what you?
Oh
Bacon grease?
no.
You put bacon grease on it? Thank you guys. Sign up for the conference, Dad Gummit. It takes you like 2 seconds. lawyerforward.com/virtual. We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm literally going to push finish right now to close this meeting, and I have no idea what the hell is about to happen. Okay? There's a button that it said that it pushes over to YouTube. I'm so excited Thank you, Jess.
Let's go. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.